Hey you, welcome to another episode of the Unapologetic Human Podcast. My name is Juvenal Vitalis and I'm your guide and host in this space. Our topic today is about mental health and creativity. And I wanted to discuss this with you because you are an artist, and I wanted to know the intersection between mental health and how you juggle through this in your work and your pursuit as a creative individual and practitioner. And before we jump to all of that, can you introduce yourself, who you are, where you're coming from, and what you do?
All right, thank you so much. My name is Akanyijuka, and I'm a digital artist and photographer, from Uganda. Yeah, basically that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, so by starting this episode today, um, how does your personal experience with mental health challenges shape your artistic perspective and the message you convey through your work?
As an artist starting out, I can't lie that I haven't really had or suffered from mental health issues. Starting out, I was really hard because at some point I had to create work and I wouldn't post it or show it to anyone because I was scared of what are people going to say about my work and how it would affect me if someone made a very negative comment about the work I just invested a lot of time in this work. Uh, so in a way it makes you feel like you're not really doing anything, and that's a really very, very bad position to be in, because you feel like your life has no purpose and you want your work to make meaning not only to you but also people out there because you're trying to inspire people. So it brings in moments of anxiety, moments of sometimes for me it felt like I was getting depressed, and I, instead of looking at it as a negative, I tried to look at it more of like a positive because it's an experience and in life the experiences. So as an artist, when I look at some of these things as experiences, I then translate them into work. So it becomes more of like inspiration for me because maybe there is someone out there that could have been going through the same thing, and if I can translate that into my work, maybe it becomes more of like therapy for them if my work speaks to them like that. Yeah, so it's good to look at some of these things more like experiences. It kind of keeps you going even though things are really really tough. And as an artist, if you can translate that into your work, there's someone out there that you're going to be helping. So yeah.
You talk about being afraid of sending out your work. Do you get that often, of the fear of how people will judge your work and how they will criticize your work because you're the one who created it and you saw it's good, it's enough for you? I mean, the fear of perfection that comes with how we get this negative or like positive outcome to people.
I used to get that very often when I was really starting out. I used to get it almost all the time, until I came to understand that it's my work and this is what I was creating. I'm not really creating to please. I'm creating because there's something I'm trying to communicate. Some people might look at only their aesthetic parts and uh, it's very subjective. Art is very subjective. So it becomes a challenge when you're trying to please everyone, and that's like the first thing you have in mind when you're creating. It becomes really hard for you. So instead of trying to please, I'll try to communicate, and not everyone is going to appreciate your work, the aesthetic of your work, because we all love different things. I look at a pen, and I really like this pen, the color and everything, and I'll look at a red one, and I won't like the red pen, but I like the green one. But that doesn't make the the, the the green one, I mean the red one, any less of a pen.
Mm.
In that sense, a very good pen, just because I didn't like it. So once you understand that, you stop having those feelings of I'm trying to create this work to please someone.
Mm.
Uh, and you basically start creating for yourself, which makes you more comfortable in your practice, and gives you a lot of freedom to explore a lot of things and experiments and grow. Right now,
Beautifully.
I can say that I've grown past that.
Mm-hmm.
I've grown past that, though it's something a lot of people go through,
Mm.
and it's very, very limiting, I feel.
Speaking of that, in what ways has art provided you with an outlet for processing and expressing difficult emotion related to mental health?
Oh, a lot.
Mm.
In the first, I started doing art as a way to express myself, because I needed an outlet for what I was feeling, what I was experiencing, and became art became that thing for me. So, as I told you, instead of looking at whatever I was feeling, more of a negative, it became a way of me experiencing life and telling my story through my art. So art has been really like that thing that I can go to when I'm feeling really depressed, when I'm feeling really down, and it becomes like my way of screaming, or my therapy in a way. Yeah, so when I'm feeling down, I just try to think about it, and then see I can communicate that in my work.
I have seen your work on Instagram, and they're very nice pictures, and this you have this way of expressing yourself in a really good way, and you found yourself in your own lane, and I think it's really good. But do you have any specific artwork of yours that reflect a profound journey of self-discovery and mental well-being?
Yeah, I do.
Mm.
I do. It was my first series, in fact. I still have that series. I'm waiting for a time when I can release it.
Mhm.
And here comes hiding the art part. Yeah, I do have a series of when it was about 6 pieces that I created
Mm.
specifically
Mm.
for mental health. I will
Mm.
share them with you, I think,
Mm.
and you can,
Nice, I'll
yeah,
be glad.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'll share them with you. Partly, I've been keeping them because I really want someone who can write about them very well. Yeah, and then that's when I'll start releasing them one by one.
that's great. And how do you find courage to be vulnerable in your art, knowing that it may expose your inner struggles and emotion? And in our society right now, we are not allowed to be emotions. Recently, people have been opening up their inner parts and becoming emotional and allowing themselves to be vulnerable. How is it for you? How do you find this courage to be vulnerable in your art and to show your inner struggles and emotion through your art?
I like to see myself as a witness to life
Mm.
and not like a player in life. So
Mm.
I feel like I'm someone just experiencing life, and maybe from my story, someone can learn something.
Yeah.
So from that, I don't limit myself on how much I can express myself in my
Mm.
art and what I'm experiencing. Because if I do that, then I'm hiding that part of my story,
Yeah.
and someone out there could learn from that part of that story. So yeah, that's how I do it basically. Goes on in my mind.
Has your creative process evolved as you've navigated your own mental health journey? And do you have like a creative process evolve as you've navigated your own mental health journey, and how does it influence the final outcome of your artwork? Because for me, sometimes I feel like you're not producing an episode every week. You have a process where you go through, but then you find yourself every time you do that activity, you have the same process, and like it's evolving, and like you're going in a cycle of repeatedly activity of things that your mind just tune you to find a way to just repeat the same thing. But you have the pattern, like a process of navigating your own journey. And sometimes you feel like burnout and you don't feel doing anything. How do you find yourself coming out of that process of you navigating that? Does it influence the final outcome of your work?
Yeah, when I was starting out, I remember I was using a really, really old laptop, and it was stressing to use it. Just the thought of the fact that I want to create, but whenever I start creating, you're probably going to lose the file because the laptop was jammed. You're probably not even going to finish a piece because you can't use some features. The laptop can't really allow you to do that. So just the thought of creating was burnout in itself. But what I always do is I just start. Like even when I feel like I'm burning out, and sometimes I don't even have an idea of what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I just open up a laptop and just look at the laptop, the canvas for a while, for like 30 minutes. And I just put in some images and I just start working. Probably listening to maybe some jazz, just to get myself into that moment of creating. And it's, in a way, when you start doing it, then it's like you hadn't burnt out even. You just feel all the emotions, everything that you felt when you're starting out just starts going away. It just starts and just going to the moment of creating, and it's like you weren't burnt out at all. And I can say some of the pieces that I've really, really liked, I've created them from such moments when you haven't really sat down to plan out everything. That's when I create the things I really like, because that's when I feel most honest when I'm creating, because there I'm literally creating from a point of difficulty.
Yeah.
And everything I'm going to be doing, I'm just going to be doing it as a way to like cry out on the canvas, or it comes from a very honest point of what I'm really going through at that point. Yeah. And when you're honest in your craft, then you get a lot of authenticity in what you're doing.
You talked about having a very low quality technological resource like laptop. Did you have sometimes have this thought of like quitting because of you don't have a better equipment, or when you are starting out? How do you what influenced you instead of just thinking about laptop? Because I also had that situation where I'm not gonna start the podcast because I don't have better quality equipment and resources. But then at the end, I just decided, because it's my passion, and if I continue lamenting about not having access to these resources, I'll just end up not creating what I want. And instead, I started with my phone, recording one. I think the first episode and the second episode with my phone, and then from there I got a new microphone. Then I started recording using a microphone. So for you, what influenced you to just jump in and do your own thing without thinking about the laptop, and just express yourself and feel like you need to do that without waiting or wasting time of waiting for a better equipment?
Yeah, I can't say that there weren't moments when I did feel like quitting, because as I told you, there's a point when I was when I thought my work wasn't good enough. I wasn't showing it to anyone because it just felt like there was nowhere it was leading me to. So I really felt like, why don't I just quit this? First of all, I'm using a really old laptop. Why don't I just quit this? There's nothing I'm gaining from it. But as you've mentioned, passion is what keeps you moving, because you start to remember why you started in the first place. And that question comes with very many answers,
Yeah.
because now you start, if I'm saying this is not leading me to anything, where can it lead me to?
Yeah.
That's the first question you start asking yourself. So you start looking out for opportunities
Yeah.
that you can get through your work, or what can I use my work for? How can I use my work? Then you start asking yourself, right now I have this limitation of a laptop.
Yeah.
Um, First of all, what kind of laptop would I want to have? How can I get it? And then when I get this kind of laptop, how will my work get better? Because usually you find, I've interacted with a few people, and they tell me the same experiences of starting out when they were limited by the things they use, but when they got what they wanted, their work rate just reduced instead. And when they were using whatever they were using before, they were really putting out a lot of work, and they were doing more than they were doing when they got, let's say, a new laptop. So you learn to work through your limitations and get opportunities to advance what you're doing. But the most important thing, and I was told by someone who mentored me, is learning to work with your limitation is very, very important, because you're always going to be limited in a way in life. But if you can learn to work through that, then there's nothing that's going to stop you from doing what you want to do.
That's nice. And to add up on that, to you, how do you find a struck balance between using art as a therapeutic tool for your mental health and maintaining healthy boundaries to prevent emotional exhaustion?
I burn out. I feel like I'm burnt out when I'm not creating. That's it. When I take long without doing anything, without creating any work, I feel like there's a part of me that's missing. So, it becomes, creating becomes very essential for my mental health. How I can't really tell you how I strike the balance, but when I feel like my mental health is not right, I'll still create, and that makes me feel better when I create. So it has always just been my go-to place when I don't feel okay.
Oh, okay. And have you find any resistance from others when expressing vulnerable or challenging emotion through your artwork? How do you handle such responses?
As I said, it's subjective. Yes, in life you're not going to always get that comment you want to get. You just have to grow past that and understand that that's how the world works. Not everyone is going to tell you what you want to hear, and sometimes it's good to listen to what you don't want to hear. Uh, Everyone has a right to say what they want to say. Yeah. So I mean, I've come to understand that, and I've gone past that. I would say you need to just understand that art is first of all perceptual and subjective. Everyone is going to interpret it in his own way, his or her own way. And everyone is going to have their own comment about your art. Might be good, it might be bad, but if you take that, if you take the bad comments and you overthink about the bad comments, then it's going to affect you mentally. If you overlook the bad comments and try to maybe understand where this person is coming from, rather than just thinking that this person is against you, then you might grow more from doing that.
That's fine. And you said art is subjective. Can you share like a story of how art has positively impacted your mental health or the mental health of others who have engaged with your work? And how do people say about the work that you produce?
There is a piece that I created. It's part of that series that I was telling you about mental health.
Yeah.
It's called anxiety.
Ah,
And it's even hide it. So I have it in my house. I like hang it in my house, just looking at it, even when I'm working. And someone asked me, why do you like this piece so much? And I remember I told them it's because I relate to it. So just looking at that piece reminds me of something, maybe of a time that the time when I created it, what was happening, and it kind of reminds me of what I need to do when I'm feeling the same way I felt then, even now. Very many people have looked at that piece and they also tell me they relate to it. They relate to it. My own relatives. And then there is there's another piece still. It's called "Hanging There." It's a recent when someone actually wanted to buy it just because they feel they relate to it. So when people start telling you such things, then you feel that yeah, your art is doing something in people's lives, and it- it's good when people get to learn from new experiences, and you realize that whatever you're going through, it's not like you're the only one going through what you're going through, and yeah, there are people going through the same thing.
yeah.
It shows you that in a way, as humans, we are all connected in a way. We all go through the same kind of emotions,
Mm,
have the same experiences.
mm,
And if my part of the story, I can tell my part of the story, and you relate to it, and it kind of keeps you moving. Then it's a plus for me. Yeah.
we are going at the end of our episode meetup. Do you have any advice you give to aspiring artists who are navigating their own mental health challenges and they are also seeking to express themselves authentically through their art?
The best advice I can give them is experience life. Someone told me of recent that it was actually a statement that maybe sometimes artists need to go through difficult times to create the best work. I don't know how true that is, but for me personally, I feel you need to experience life, and it's from those experiences that you get stories to tell. Because the main role of us as artists is to tell stories, your own personal story. It could be someone else's story, but you can only get those stories through experience in life. And the experience,
Mm,
the life experience doesn't come with only the positive, it comes with what you call the negatives. But if you turn those negatives into, if you translate them into your work, you're going to find yourself being more authentic. At the end of the day, it's your story, it's a story that you're trying to tell. So do not focus on what is going on, just experience it and use it. You should know that maybe there is someone out there that could be going through the same thing that you're going through right now. And if you
mm,
just dismissed it as something that is a negative in your life, then you're going to be hiding a very, very powerful story that can help someone out there.
mm.
So use whatever you're going through as inspiration, I could say, for your work. Tell the story and just see what it can do for society. Yeah.
That's a wrap for this week's episode of The Unapologetic Human. I hope that you found something within our conversation that resonates with you and encourage you to become the best version of yourself. Until next time, let's all continue being unapologetic in our pursuit of understanding and knowledge.